Tropical at Bitter Lemon. Unleash your bold. Show your colors.
Vita, just strength.
Noise in class?
Auntie, Brian said that the Bonvita school competition is back. We are preparing for it.
The Bon Factor is back? Okay, let's see your preparation. Drop a beat.
That's right. The Bon Factor School Talent Competition is back with up to 6 million naira to be won. To participate, visit www.bonfactor.ng. Bonvita, strength to dream.
Oh boy, today was so stressful.
Hey, as in everywhere just choke.
You know what will be really cool right now? Hit me. Feel the vibe, live for the fun. It's cool like Fun Ice. Call the gang and have some more. That's cool like Fun Ice. With the creamy goodness, oh yeah. Be cool like Fun Ice.
Enjoy the taste of creamy goodness with Fun Ice. Available in vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate.
This night it tastes of goodness. Golden caramel, creamy buttermint, and rich coffee. Cadbury candy there for every moment.
Introducing the Ogbonge new Cadbury Caramel, Cadbury Coffee, plus your Cadbury Buttermint Sweet where you don't enjoy tay. Now, plenty don't day to share and jolly.
Cadbury candy there for every moment.
Hey you, I'd love to make the next 30 seconds of your time the best 30 seconds of your day by telling you about Airtel's amazing MiFi offers available to serve you reliably. The first gives you up to 125GB bonus data for just 5,000 naira. And the second gives you up to 150GB bonus data for just 7,500 naira. Simply visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB or walk into any Airtel store near you to choose how to stay connected.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Sure you wanna feel that boost? Allow me to introduce Amber energy drink. No more shutting down, we're going up. Oh yeah, get ready, stimulate your energy. Amber now for energy. Go around and tell somebody. Oh yeah, get ready, stimulate your energy. I'm gonna for energy. Go out and tell somebody, say, what are you waiting for? Yeah? Now you can do more because I'm buying energy drink there for you. I'm buying energy drink there for you. Don't need to go too far. You can find it where you are because I'm buying energy drink there for you. I'm buying energy drink there for you. Yeah. I'm buying there for you. Yeah. I'm buying there for you.
Amber Energy Drink. Stimulate the energy in you.
So you're at your favorite booker and you've ordered rice, shaki, from roundabout, fuku, edo, liver, and croaker. Then you feel you should just top it up with one big, chilled bottle of 7-Up. But something tells you it's too much. Something tells you if people look at your table, they will think you're trying to kill yourself. Bros, please, what is something? Who is something? Are you something? Is something you? Something is only trying to stop you from being you. And that's all. Take this from 7-Up and Fido Dido. Just sip some 7-Up, face life, and just be you. Because nothing sure pass.
7-Up. Be you. Nothing sure pass. 7-Up. The diff is clear.
Union Bank is 105. To celebrate, we're giving away another 55 million naira in our Save and Win Pali promo too. That's 105,000 naira for 50 people every month, 500,000 naira for 5 people every quarter, and 5 million naira for one lucky person at the end of the year. To stand a chance, simply save at least 10,000 naira into your Union Bank account every month. If you don't have an account, you can download the Union mobile app or visit the nearest branch to open one. Terms and conditions apply.
Union Bank, your simpler, smarter bank.
I let go, where everything is possible. My way, nothing can hold me back. I let go, kulele, kulele. On my way, to my next level with
máa tẹ̀síwájú jẹ́ kó rí ìrira pàdé ṣẹlẹ̀ làkàsẹ́rà má jẹ́ kí nǹkan kan dá ọ dúró.
Risi, where's your sister?
She's in the bedroom.
Oh, yeah, call her for me.
Baraka, Mommy
is calling you.
Risi, Joe, please buy me chill drink from Dogo.
Dogo, you there outside? I beg, help us bring one chill drink, come.
Risi, sorry, please check if it's your daddy that's at the door. You that your line had been blocked. How did you get the credit that you're using, Ke?
I linked my NIN to my MTN line and got 20k free airtime.
Yes, so link your NIN to your MTN line today and get 20,000 Naira bonus airtime. Visit any MTN center near you to begin.
Mommy, where are you going?
MTN Experience Center, of course. You think it's only you that like good thing, eh?
Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, still Kick Off Sports Show, live here on Remedy Down Solutions 939 FM, check time 9:22. Okay, let's talk football away from the World Cup, but still around World Cup. It is about one man, Gakpo, who is being eyed by a lot of potential clubs. Cody Gakpo says anything is possible with his future at PSV Eindhoven after impressing for the Netherlands at the World Cup. The 23-year-old has scored in his country's opening two matches, a 2-0 win over Senegal, followed by a 1-0 draw with Ecuador, with Oranje top of Group A with a game to go. He recently revealed he was disappointed to have missed out on a move to Manchester United, while Liverpool, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich have been linked with him. While Gakpo's immediate focus is on helping the Netherlands advance deep into the World Cup, he's not ruling out a move away from PSV Eindhoven when the January window opens.
That's right. I focus now on the World Cup, but it's always nice to hear such rumors. But I just try to focus here and do my best. I'm not surprised. I know what I'm capable of, but it's always a challenge to reach your highest level that's possible. And I think I'm not there yet. I think I can improve in a lot of things.
Well, depending on your performance at the World Cup, that can also help. A lot of people will never forget James Rodriguez because of that volley that earned him a move to Real Madrid, and at the end of the day, he got the money but could not perform as expected. So, for all agents, scouts of different clubs, you have to do your findings before putting your money on a particular player. Okay, now let's talk about Lionel Messi on the show this morning before wrapping up to the other side. Lionel Messi is close to an agreement to join MLS franchise Inter Miami at the end of the 2022-2023 European season. The Argentina superstar is out of contract with Paris Saint-Germain at the end of the campaign and has been continually linked with a return to Barcelona, whom he left in 2021. But a report has it that Messi will instead move to MLS. And this will also be an interesting one if you look at it. Should be Lionel Messi move to the MLS, and we have a Cristiano Ronaldo as well move to the MLS. Well, a lot of money moving to the side, right? Same as the concentration in the United States Football League. Now let's move away from that. Let's talk tennis and NBA. Remember, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Well, just go straight to our YouTube channel, Solutions 939 FM, to watch us live. Felix Auger-Aliassime and Denis Shapovalov steered Canada to Davis Cup glory in Sunday's final against Australia in Malaga, earning the country their first title in the competition. Canada were runners-up 3 years ago in Madrid when a 19-year-old Auger-Aliassime and 20-year-old Shapovalov lost their respective singles clashes with Roberto Bautista Agut and Rafa Nada. Well, sometimes when you lose, you have to concentrate and plan yourself. You can as well do it again. By succeeding. Well, talking about the NBA, Ivica Zubac was a man possessed in the Los Angeles Clippers 114-100 victory over the Indiana Pacers on Sunday, recording a start line only ever emulated by great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And for Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green turned back the clock as they had full control over the Golden State Warriors, 137 to 114 road win against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now let's look at all the results of games that decided we hours of today. For the games decided the wee hours of today, Boston Celtics defeated Washington Wizards 130 to 121 points as Detroit Pistons lost at home against Cleveland Cavaliers 94 to 102 points. New York Knicks lost against Memphis Grizzlies at home 123 to 127 points as Orlando Magic also fell 30 points short against Philadelphia 76ers, losing 103 to 133 points. And Milwaukee Bucks defeated Dallas Mavericks 124 to 115 points. Well, remember, more games will go down tomorrow. I'll let you know more on the Kiko Sports Show based on the results coming after tomorrow's games. Well, we'll move straight to the other side this morning as we look at what is trending on the pages of Nigerian newspapers, which you have also with you. But if you don't have, don't worry. We'll let you into the headlines and same as a burning issue this morning. We took of what is happening in Osun State after, Governor Adeleke took the oath of office yesterday, also taking some decisions, making some announcements. Well, Femi Adesina, who's also the spokesperson to Mr. President, also made some comment as well yesterday, talking about how safe Nigeria is. We talk more. Do not go anywhere. It is AM Update live on your Remedy Dial Solutions 939 FM.
Is the dial.
News, sports, entertainment. Top 100 music on your Remedy Radio dial. Solutions 93.9.
Do not touch that dial. Change is constant and inevitable. This quarter on your Remedy dial, we realign, we reload for your listening pleasure. Join the AM Update team weekdays as they start the kickoff sports show by 9 a.m. and swing into the newspaper headlines by 9:30 a.m. With analysts, resource persons, special guests, and you adding your opinions on trending and burning issues on your Remedy dial. AM Update just got better.
Alright, it's another beautiful morning right here on the Remedy Dial Solutions 93.9. 30 minutes gone past 9, and it's a brand new week to get it. And we are down here to give you the latest updates from the national dailies right here in Nigeria. This is from the dailies, and my name is Victory Richard.
Well, my name is Oladapo Kunubi. I've got Punch and the Nation newspapers with me this morning as we look at some of the headlines.
And I'll be bringing you stories from the Vanguard newspaper and the Nigerian Tribune. Alright, starting our stories from Nigerian Tribune this morning, NDLEA recovers 4 kg cocaine soaked in towels from Brazil returnee. Replace Tinubu to avoid further embarrassment. Tiko's campaign tells APC. Read up on that on page 4. Federal government set to resume Abuja Kaduna train service in December. That story you can find on page 6. And now to the biggest story. Oshunagog as Adeleke takes oath of office. G5 governors absent. That story you can find on page 3. INEC office in Ebonyi burnt. You can read up on that on page 28. Removal of Ekiti speaker violates all legislative rules. Southwest lawmakers are saying that. That you can read up on page 4. Man found with 101 voter cards in Sokoto bags 1 year jail term. That story you can read up on page 27. Lamentations as petrol scarcity bites harder. Marketers unable to get supply from private depot. Ipman is saying that. I have 2 questions. I think it's high time perhaps we open importation of crude oil to just anybody.
Importation.
Since our NNPC are the sole importers of crude oil to Nigeria, and we don't even have a refinery that does refine our crude oil.
Well, that's going to be a big issue, but let's just wait. Femi Adesina saying that the present government has enough space to still, make things change and make things better. However, but let's look at the Punch newspaper this morning, because I was at the filling station yesterday and I saw Phil to go for 240. 240, close to 250. Someone said, looking at the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, saying 400 naira per litre.
Without subsidy. No, that's if they
if there won't be subsidy.
Yes, it's going to be 400 naira per litre.
And with this headline, I still saw someone saying that he bought fuel for 300 naira per litre.
Where? Ibadan here?
In Lagos.
Of course.
In Ibadan, it's now going for 240. If fuel could go for 240 at close filling stations, now what do you expect of filling stations on the highway?
If we're buying fuel at the rate of 240 to 250, then maybe it's time the subsidy is removed. But then you are going to think about average Nigerians, because removal of subsidy would definitely affect everyone, not just even an average Nigerian hustler out there. So, something needs to be done about this.
Well, we'll talk more about that on the show this morning, which is also part of the burning issue. Well, let's go straight to the Punch newspaper this morning with the cap headline. Congratulations to the Punch newspaper that says the Punch wins newspaper of the year, 8 others at the NMMA. And the pocket headline this morning says POS fraud. How slack guidelines, banks, apathy cost Nigerians huge losses. And the banner headline returns to what we discussing here based on fuel subsidy and the petrol price. NNPC petrol price without subsidy is 400 naira per litre. Marketers, and it has 3 riders. Oil firms struggling with subsidies. Government cannot be Father Christmas. Ipman, NNPC, NMDPRA, keep mum. And over 30,000 filling stations face shortage. Well, the front page picture of the Punch newspaper happens to be the light that came out yesterday. Was a Mole Day. When you say Mole Day, the light has come, right? In Osun State yesterday, as Adeleke reverses Oyetola's appointment, says action malicious. And we could also see the presidential and vice presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar and Okowa, live in Osun State yesterday.
Without the G5 governors.
Yes, although we had the deputy governor of Oyo State at Osun State yesterday. Well, election results, nationwide e-transmission possible, says Telcos. Page 2 of Punch has that story. A Saudi-born trafficker conceals cocaine in sandals. Page 5 of Punch. Yuletide, NCDC warns of possible COVID-19 infection rise. Page 40. Please get vaccinated. Was it not 2 years ago that people had to spend Christmas,
at home?
At home.
Yes.
Get vaccinated. Get your COVID-19 jabs.
It's not enough to be vaccinated. Also, ensure you adhere to the non-pharmaceutical measures, wearing your face mask, washing your hands regularly, and whatnot. Let's move now to the Vanguard newspaper. 4,000 doctors, migration soon. It's now 1 to 10,000 patients, and that's coming from NORD. Brain drain. Ocean First Lady louds women's turnout during inauguration. More stories from the Vanguard. PRP denies collapsing into APC in Sokoto. Read up on that, of course, from the Vanguard. Fuel scarcity hits Calabar. 500 naira per litre. Interesting. Kaduna Abuja train. We are 90% ready to resume. Federal government. It's a shame for Nigeria to accept food supply from war-torn Ukraine. Athens. And the last story on the Vanguard this morning, Adeleke freezes government accounts, reverses state name. These and more stories you can read up from the Vanguard newspaper. To the Nation newspaper this morning, Adeleke, I will strengthen security, boost workers' welfare. Cap headline of the Nation newspaper. Tinubu, most experienced candidate, says Ayade. And look at other headlines. Azura targets 3,500 megawatt power generation. Morocco's win over Belgium thrills Okocha. And looking at the red headline on the Nation newspaper this morning. NRC to enforce no NIN, no ticket on Abuja Kaduna. Troops queue for bandits. And this headline says federal government bans exports of raw gold. Well, Rider, 6 plants underway in Ibadan, Kano, other cities. And well, we are also having this. We have this banner headline: 2023. Another attack on INEC office raises concern over polls. With Rider, IG orders CPs to take action. Commission 6 probe into attacks on facilities. Disquieting customs service as the top officers seek tenure extension. And the shoe headline this morning: suspects held with cocaine in sandals, wet towel. 2 prison escapees arrested. Okay, well, 9:38 is the time, and you just got all the headlines on the pages of Nigerian newspapers. Now let's move straight to the burning issue this morning, which we start with a speech coming from Femi Adesina. Okay, well, Femi Adesina is the special advisor, media and publicity to President Muhammadu Buhari. And he was speaking yesterday about how Nigerians have been criticizing the outgoing government, saying that the little time on board, left, can still avail the government to make more changes. He also made it clear that Nigeria is getting safer, even more safer, under President Muhammadu Buhari.
One thing we need to understand and appreciate is that there is no single president that will solve the problems of a country, all the problems of a country. It has never happened before, it will never happen anywhere in the world. That president and the administration he leads will do their bit and hand over to another administration that will continue. Well, there will always be criticisms, particularly in a country like this. You change the Naira, they criticize. You don't change, they criticize. You have electoral law, they criticize. You don't have, they criticize. Anything in this country will be criticized. So, criticisms, particularly if they are virulent and negative, should not bother us. What should matter to us is what we are doing and a concentration on that thing, and making sure that we make a difference. When it came in 2015, you couldn't be sure that Nigeria will exist in the next 1 month. As at 2015, what was happening was that nobody could confidently say that Nigeria will still be on the map of the world the following week, the following month, or the following year. But we saw that he came and he took the battle to the insurgents. When he came, insurgency was the main thing. And he took the battle to them. Then he became Hydra-headed. Banditry joined, kidnapping for ransom joined, cultism joined, separatist agitation joined. How many challenges can one administration really confront? That's the issue with the Buhari administration. But we also see some calm in the country now. You can't compare what we have today with what we had 6 months ago, 1 year ago. And in another 6 months. 6 months is enough time to finish what's on ground.
I don't expect anybody to speak ill of their principal. And I think the reason why most Nigerians are triggered with his statement yesterday was a particular phrase of him saying, I feel fulfilled, working with the presidency.
Everybody can be fulfilled. So far, you are not fired.
Fair enough.
But now it is more of saying that 6 months is enough, but we have a government in power, spending 7 years and some months, close to 8 years. But, I mean, with what he said, there can be lights at the end of the tunnel. If the Naira in space of a week could go to, if a dollar could rise up to like close to 1,000 Naira and could drop in the space of 1 week, so there can still be changes.
I wouldn't be the person to object to the change.
When we get to the bridge, we'll cross. But now let's go straight to Osun State this morning, right? Did you listen to the statement of Governor Adeleke yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I watched a couple of videos as well.
Okay. Now, saying that some decisions made by the outgone administration will have to be reversed. Also making it clear that it is no longer State of Osun. It is now Osun State. And after the speech, we'll be talking to Henry Ifagbo, who is a journalist from Osun State this morning.
Announce immediate return of status quo of all fresh appointments, placement, and other major decisions taken by the immediate past administration with effect from the 7th of July 2022. It is therefore my desire to ask for your patience and understanding to give my administration a few weeks to review and sort out all actions and malicious confusions which the immediate past administration has created since July 17, 2022. Those actions were indeed vindictive measures against the people of Osun State for voting them out of office. Consequently, I hereby issue the following directives, which will be backed up with appropriate executive orders. 1. Immediate freezing of all government accounts in banks and other financial institutions. 2. Immediate establishment of a panel to carry out an inventory and recover all government assets. 3. An immediate establishment of a panel to review all appointments and major decisions of the immediate past administration taken after 17 July 2022. An immediate reversal to the constitutional recognized name of our state, Osun State. All government insignia, correspondences, and signages should henceforth, I repeat, should henceforth reflect Osun State.
Okay, Governor Adeleke, the newly sworn-in governor of Osun State. So say no longer State of Osun. Henry Ifagbo joins us all the way from Osogbo, the state capital of Osun this morning. Good morning, Henry. Thank you for joining us.
Morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Dapo. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, the last time we met was during the elections, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so listening to the statements from the governor of your state, let's start with the return of State of Osun to Osun State. How was it like? How was it received by people of Osun State, and most especially the elite of Osun State?
Well, thank you, Dap, for looking at. For me, let me not speak for the people of Osun, but let me speak now as a journalist and a new beginning of Osun. That announcement or that order didn't come to me as a surprise, because when you look at the name state of Osun, it is to a good number of people here in Osun alien. The name has no constitutional backing. When the current Minister of Interior, who of course was a former governor of the state, when he came into power in 2011, the name was Osun State. So he was one that changed it to State of Osun. And there are many court cases against that decision. I remember there is one, a judgment was given in Ilesha where the judge actually declared that decision as illegal. So to the people of Osun, when the governor actually made that pronouncement yesterday, the pronouncement was greeted with cheers. The people were so excited. The people at the main bowl of the Osogbo City Stadium yesterday were so excited. So the pronouncement was, for me, a good one, because initially, ab initio, that decision to change the name to State of Osun has no constitutional backing.
All right, let's talk about the former governor who, also said that he's looking that this particular government will be short-lived as it's possibly going to come back to office through court proceedings. Do you see that happening in Osun State?
Well, the case is still at the tribunal. You will recall former governor Boyega Oyetola lost at the polls on July 16 this year. He lost to, of course, Governor Ademola Adeleke. So he felt his spokesman, Ismail Omepidon, actually said his principal did not lose the election, but lost vote counts. So that was why they challenged, or they are challenging that victory in court. So since the case is still at the tribunal, I wouldn't want to preempt what will happen at the tribunal. But of course, the people of Osun have spoken loudly and they've elected Governor Ademola Adeleke as the 6th executive governor of Osun State. Well, it is unless for the tribunal to actually check if they were overvoting as claimed by the All Progressive Congress and former Governor Oyetola.
Okay. Now, before we allow you go, Harry, I mean, there were appointments last week, and, spokesperson to Governor Adeleke made it clear that these people will be fired come Monday. And there was a statement coming from Adeleke on Sunday saying that there will be, announced reversal of some appointment, and I think should be retained. There should be status quo, remaining. However, don't you think this will also bring maybe some more enemies for Governor Adeleke, who started his duty yesterday?
Well, prior to the swearing ceremony yesterday, the People's Democratic Party has issued several releases warning the people of plans by the Oyetola administration to drop banana peels on the floor for the incoming administration to see that it does not, succeed in office. Just last Friday, if you will recall, that there was a court judgment sacking all the local government chairmen and councillors in the state. The governor, of course, there were appointments of several monarchs, which many felt was not had no constitutional backing. They felt due process were not followed in those appointments. And the news we got this morning was that the spokesman to the governor, Malam Olawale Rashid, released a statement that all the heads in various ministries should take over, which of course they are executing the court's judgment, sacking all the local government chairmen, and of course the appointment of permanent secretaries. That for the PDP raised, there was a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party the other day, and he was on a radio station in the state where he said they had actually warned some of these permanent secretaries not to take their appointment. So they had actually warned them not to take their appointment. So whatever happens, I want to, it is just politics that, but let me put it that way. It is normal if if the PDP was in that same position, I'm not sure they would not do same, but it is just politics. And of course, the governor yesterday actually pleaded with the people of the state to give him time to review some of these appointments. So anyone that did not actually follow due process, of course, we will take the necessary action.
Well, thank you very much, Henry Fagbo. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us updates from Oshogbo, or the Osun State capital this morning.
Thank you, Dap, once again for having me.
All right, Henry Fagbo is a journalist based in Osun State. Thank you so much. Good morning. Okay, you just heard the updates from Osun State this morning. So let's connect with Dr. Connection this morning to also, analyze one or two issues from the headlines that we have on the pages of Nigerian newspapers, same as the burning issue this morning. Remember, when the time comes, you also have the opportunity to also join us. But remember, in the meantime, we're live on YouTube. In case you're trying to search for us on Facebook this morning, we're live on YouTube. Just go straight to the YouTube channel. Type Solutions 939 FM. We're live. Post your comment and your contributions on that part. You can as well send us a WhatsApp and SMS this morning.
Yes, you can do that via 0909 888 9939. 0909 888 9939. So do send the message and we'll be sure to read that, reacting to some of the issues we've raised this morning. Shortly, we'll be connecting with Dr. Cornerstone for more analysis.
I mean, if you look at Dr. Cornerstone is here. Dr. Cornerstone, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for joining
Good morning, Dr. Cornerstone.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah.
Richard?
Very well, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so Dr. Cornerstone, let's just quickly go straight to the issue of the day. I mean, you listened to, did you listen to the discussion we had with the journalist from Osun State this morning, talking about the decision of Governor Adeleke, making some reversals, making some announcements, also, putting on hold the accounts of the state, and, also the outgoing government not handing over properly. How can we end a situation where a new government from a different party takes over a government and, having to take more weeks, months to settle down because of problems set up by the outgone government?
Well, I want to take point of view this man has listened to all this morning. What actually has transpired or has happened is that one more or two. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you. We are with you.
Okay. What has transpired in the last 1 month or two in Osun State is actually a case in question that requires us to probably have the issue of handing over very seriously in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think it's been taken as an administrative responsibility. I hope you can hear me, please.
Yeah, we're with you, Dr. Cornerstone.
Yeah, it's been taken as an administrative responsibility. I do not know the level to which it is fully entrenched in the Constitution, because pillars coming from that state had actually shown very well that the reluctance to actually hand over to this government was very, very, very high. The reluctance was such that the man who is at the helm of affairs this day did not even receive a handing over note from the man who had served the Osun people for the last 4 years. So it's actually very, very painful that the man now who is there will have to start grappling with issues of governance, how governance has happened in the last 4 years, where monies were spent, where monies were spent. Handover notes will have given all these details, this clear detail, for the president to hit home running just almost immediately. But that is not the case in Osun State. I believe, though, that the one who just handed over was of the view that he would probably get a government opportunity. He would get a government opportunity, especially from the court, to be able to push the victory of the one who was sworn in yesterday. But that didn't happen, and so I think that it's actually very, very unhappy that he didn't have the opportunity of handing a second term. And so it's victory for the Osun people that the one they have overwhelmingly voted for as the majority of the people. And so that's where the good people of Osun State comes in. That's where we say, oh, congratulations to the good people of Osun State. It doesn't mean that the other people are not good people. It just means that the majority of the people's vote is heard, and the majority of the vote of the people's vote voice is the voice of God. That's why it's the voice of the voice day. But that said, it now behoves the man at the helm of affairs of the Osun State people to make Osun State happy. Number one, he's done some executive orders yesterday. Number one, repealing the state of Osun. That is not in tandem with the constitution of Nigeria. And then number two, he's also saying that every account of the state, as far as concerned, is freeze until he's able to do so. The reason is because so that there won't be malicious withdrawals from those state accounts, now that he does not even have a detail of where those accounts are. And so the next thing he has done is to put up committees. Committees are very, very important in dealing in this area. Put on to be able to know where the committees of the state are, and number two, according to his speaking yesterday, according to his speech yesterday, his inaugural speech, he believes that the state government hurriedly promoted a lot of civil servants and employed more people into the civil service without a corresponding budgetary provision for those new employments. And so he wants a committee. He has set up a committee to actually look into those employments, and if they are not in them with the provisions of the Oyo State member of operation or Sunday, and then it means that those people will have to go. One of them is that a lot of persons were promoted as permanent secretaries. So the committees that handle with our responsibility will actually check whether the people promoted so far have got the right to be promoted and there's budgetary provision as proper. And so
right.
That's a good way to start.
Thank you, Dr. Cornerstone. We would love to continue this conversation, but we are pressed for time at the moment. So just hold on. We'll get in touch with you again after this timeout.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
News, sports, entertainment, top 100 music on your Remedy Radio dial. Solutions 93.9.
Do not touch that dial.
939 is the dial.
Risi, where's your sister?
She's in the bedroom.
Oh, yeah, call her for me.
Baraka, mommy is calling you.
Hey, Risi, Joe, please buy me chill drink from Dogo.
Dogo, you there outside? I beg, help us bring one chill drink, come.
Risi, sorry, please check if it's your daddy that's at the door. You that your line had been blocked. How did you get the credit that you're using, Ke?
I linked my NIN to my MTN line and got 20k free airtime.
Yes, so link your NIN to your MTN line today and get 20,000 Naira bonus airtime. Visit any MTN center near you to begin.
Mommy, where are you going?
MTN Experience Center, of course. You think it's only you that like good thing, eh?
Terms and conditions apply.
News, sports, entertainment, top 100 music on your Remedy Radio dial. Solutions 93.9.
Do not touch that dial.
All right, so the Remedy dial, 10 o'clock right now, and we're back to the newspaper headlines. We're connecting with Dr. Cornerstone, of course, to bring analysis to us. Dr. Cornerstone, thank you for being there.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's talk about the presidency. Femi Adesina, in a recent meeting, spoke about how he feels really fulfilled working with President Muhammadu Buhari. And in his defense, he was saying that there will always be criticism in governance. And they have 6 months before, a new administration, so everything can still work out just fine. Do you see that miracle happening?
Well, I want to say that, number one, he should actually feel fulfilled for having worked for the president, because that's one responsibility as a spokesperson that anybody would want to aspire to. Working for the president of the nation is something I believe anyone should aspire to.
and having been a media special assistant in that regard, by the kind of work he has engaged in, if he's not the president of Nigeria or a minister, I think that should be the next most viable career position or diplomatic position to have occupied in the Nigerian state. So, number one, the dividends or the benefit that comes from that is not reason for anyone to be happy to have occupied that position. And then the gain you make for yourself or you destroy for yourself is also one reason why somebody might be happy. But he says that every president will be criticized. Well, I do not think Nigerians are actually criticizing the president. I think Nigerians, a majority of Nigerians, are admitting to have chosen his boss. It's not a case of criticism. People can be criticized, but it's a case of people actually biting their fingers to have chosen that his boss was given the opportunity of leading Nigeria in the last 8 years. The other thing has actually been a case of three experiences. The first experience is when we are going to change the thing. The second experience is give us more time for us to change the thing. And then this happens, we have changed the thing. And so Nigerians are wondering where the change came and they didn't see it. Nigerians are wondering what change actually happened that this government is celebrating. Well, he's a media personality. He has the right to speak everything that he chooses will be to the benefit of his boss. But unfortunately, the man we are talking about right now was actually speaking for his boss, speaking what he felt was okay for his boss, not really what Nigerians felt. So I see him as someone who represented the interest of his boss without taking the interest of the people to his boss. You know what I'm saying? And so for the fact that he's got a lot of compensation doing this job, he should his bank account should be smiling so well. So that is one reason he should be happy having worked for this government. But away from that, majority of the challenges that this government is facing as far as name bashing, image destroying, image bashing is concerned, is the next and poor report that this government actually, that his media person, his media office actually does. It was actually very poorly when it comes to this administration. The media reportage coming from his office was actually very, very poor. He didn't see the job as governance. He saw the job to represent the interest of the people in government. And basically, I feel that is actually a poor meeting when it comes to man who is doing the work of a spokesman for the presidency. The goal is to represent the presidency, not the interest of the people in the presidency.
Dr. Cornerstone, before we let you go this morning, let's talk about fuel scarcity. According to the Punch newspaper, if subsidy is removed, we would start buying fuel at the rate of 400 per litre. Now, I have two questions. The NNPC is the sole, they're the sole buyers of crude oil, and I'm wondering, is it time that we open it to just anybody who has the resources to buy crude oil into the country? Then secondly, do you think that at this time, with the present economy that we're facing, should subsidy be removed?
Well, my only challenge and concern in this area is I do not know where to really place the NNPCL in all this thing. NNPCL has become a privatized organization, and I say on a daily basis that NNPCL is no different from any other petrol marketing company in Nigeria as it stands, because all of us are answerable to the CAP, the Corporate Affairs Commission registration, which is popularly called KAMA or KAMDU. You understand what I'm saying? 2020. That's the same right that gives any other petrol marketing company the purpose of doing business in Nigeria. So, for the very fact that the NNPC is still doing the job of the government, I do not know whether it's on the concessionaire responsibility. I do not really understand, because presently, as we see, NNPC is privatized, but no one can buy shares in NNPC. NNPC is privatized, but NNPC is still the one calling the shots when it comes to crude oil as well as other forms of oil, petrol, motor spirit in Nigeria. It's very simple. We will need to have a government change that all the shadiness in this area the new government can actually look into it and make things very, very straight. This is one reason I'm thinking that the APC cannot deliver itself from its past government. I don't believe that the APC has got the capacity to deliver itself or recover itself from this past government that has hit Nigeria.
Okay.
We know that the fuel subsidy that is being talked about in Nigeria today, there's a whole lot of scam about it. There's a whole lot of shadiness about it. The reason is simple. We are told that the Nigerian that the refineries are not working. The NNPCL is not willing to give us the information relating to the importation of fuel on daily basis in Nigeria. There is no information in that regard anywhere near public consumption how the NNPC imports fuel. Number two, the next thing I'd like to tell you that the NNPCL says about 93 million liters of fuel are consumed daily by Nigeria. I mean, 60 million liters of fuel, I just to correct that, but about 60 million liters of fuel are consumed daily by Nigerians with these cars. But on a daily basis, the Nigerian NNPC records 93 million liters as fuel being emitted from various fuel zones and the various tank farms all across Nigeria. So if you just support that information, 60 million as the declared usage and 93 million as the daily upload. You want to ask yourself, the person who came to from Ibadan to go fuel in Lagos, did he go to a forest in Ogun State to pour the fuel away in order to return tomorrow? You have to say so. You understand me? And so that information is highly shady. That's why we probably know the level to which you can trust fuel subsidy in Nigeria. This government also has said to us that the biggest scam in Nigeria is fuel subsidy. It does not exist. But within the same government, under 3 years, fuel subsidy has moved from 1.2 trillion to 1.5 trillion to 3 trillion to 6 trillion and now to more. So it only just goes to tell us the challenge that this government is enmeshing Nigeria on daily basis. Also, if you look at the papers, let me finish on this.
Okay.
If you looked at the papers about, I think on Friday or thereabouts, there was a report in the newspapers how various other ministries were actually writing to the Ministry of Finance how their budget were funded with 12 billion, 8 billion, 5 billion, and they said they were never aware what those money were meant for.
Padding,
and so I hope you have that information. You probably will have seen that information. Am I correct?
Yes, please.
And so, and that's how to tell you that Nigeria presently is shrouded in all manner of secrecy when it comes to governance information that's available. Unfortunately for Nigeria, we have freedom of the information bill that is passed by the federal government. But this government has just come, put it aside, and then you hear this man saying Turkey is going to judge this government very clearly because it's proud to happily work for the government of the day. Whatever you take home is enough to make you happy, no matter who's off is God or who is suffering in a nation such as Nigeria. I want to ask him, the fuel scarcity that is happening right now, that is man-made, you would have to understand that if actually fuel was being imported to Nigeria, and I was saying in this country during the Abacha era that fuel was actually being imported in Nigeria, you would see that the combustions in those cars were highly sulfuric. But today, we are hearing fuel is being imported in Nigeria, and there is no sulfuric outpouring in the cars in our state. The Jonathan government handed over refineries that were working at 50% capacity.
Yeah.
That is on record. That these refineries were working at about 50 to 65% capacity. This government of India has come to tell us that they are working, they are not working. And now, that by February next year, the refineries will start working. What miracle have they done?
Dr. Conaston.
What miracle have this
Maybe there might be a miracle by Wednesday when we'll talk more, most especially about Nigeria's refinery and the fuel pump price. Right?
Thank you very much.
Let's just keep our fingers crossed. Thank you very much, Dr. Conaston, for your time on this Monday morning. Thank you so much. All right, let's just use this last few minutes to connect with our listener out there for you to also make a contribution. 0909-888-9939 or 0912-222-2939. 0909 888 9939 or 0912 222 2939. Dr. Connection talking about miracle. What type of miracle can that be? Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning
to you.
Kemi calling from Akobo.
All right, Kemi, let's go. 60 seconds.
Please.
Yes, I will use the medium to congratulate the new elected governor of Osun State. I will implore him to always to serve the masses, just like Pastor. We will implore him to always pay the salary. That's very important, just like we retain that the governor has been paying the worker salary steadily. Yes, let's talk about now on our refineries. We have refineries at Warri, Kaduna, Niger Delta, even Port Harcourt. Are they functioning? They are not. We will keep buying at the producer's price when we do not produce what we consume. We do not have functional refineries. Reason why we've been facing fuel scarcity year in, year out. On my way to work this morning, a lot of queues at the filling station. Should it be like that when we have a moment when we were promised not to worry that they will rebuild refinery? That they will
Please wrap up your thoughts.
We will have one refinery, one per year. By now, we should have 8 refineries by now under their administration. But what have they done? Nothing. Failure upon failure. If we refuse to have, if we did not have functional refineries in this nation, we will not get it right in our oil sector.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Kemi from Akobo. Let's just stick to time, 60 seconds. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name again?
name?
Okay, Bankis, you know what you do for us? Try and change your location because your network is fluctuating. You've got 60 seconds.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. So go ahead. You've got like 50 more seconds. So go, let's go.
So regarding the new governor of Osun State, I want to congratulate him, and of course, he should ensure that he runs an inclusive government that is away from partisan politics. Then if there are developmental projects that God did not allow Itola to complete, I don't think he should complete them since they are going to be for the benefit of the people. Now look at Oyo State. Governor has completed some projects by the ex-governor, irrespective of their political differences. So I think Adeleke should also do like this. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that contribution. I mean, when you have a developmental project ongoing, you don't have to stop because now it's a government of the people. This is democracy.
Yeah.
If you see that the outgoing government or the outgone government has started a good plan, you have to continue to make lives better for people. All right, guys, this is where we'll wrap it up this morning. And, well, remember, the AM update continues with the Solutions Clinic, where Victory will be looking at another issue this morning. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, we're talking about reducing the burden of malaria. Malaria is something a lot of people trivialize. You know, when someone feels a particular symptom, maybe you're feeling, feverish, or you have some kind of cold,
Say
you just
everything
assume
malaria.
it's malaria and you go do some self-medication, but at the end of the day you don't know that you're doing destruction to yourself. So we're going to be talking broadly on malaria, and how to reduce the burden, essentially. Okay, so this is how we draw the curtains from the dailies this morning. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories from our national dailies to keep you up to speed on what's going on in Nigeria and how to have a better nation. Remember that your PVC is ready for collection. My name is Victor Richard.
And my name is Oladapo Okunubi. Good morning.
Make you show yourself, no they hide your face. Show up in the boot style, ooh, in a boot style. Cause you get to the ginger. Almost too much swagger. You they give a good vibration. Anywhere you go, you show the colors of your.
Ládùn gbogbo àṣàyàn ohun mímu aládùn bold tó wà ní aládùn ginger, olómi ọsàn, tropical àti bitter lemon. Unleash your bold. Show your colors.
Bonvita gives us strength.
Noise in class.
Auntie, Brian said that the Bonvita school competition is back. We are preparing for it.
The Bon Factor is back? Okay, let's see your preparation. Drop a beat.
That's right. The Bond Factor School Talent Competition is back with up to 6 million naira to be won. To participate, visit www.bondfactor.ng. Bond Vita, strength to dream.
Oh boy, today was so stressful. As in everywhere just choke. You know what will be really cool right now? Hit me. Feel the vibe, live for the fun. It's cool like Fun Ice. Call the gang and have some more. That's cool like Fun Ice. With the creamy goodness, oh yeah. Be cool like Fun Ice.
Enjoy the taste of creamy goodness with Fun Ice. Available in vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate.
This not a taste of goodness. Golden caramel, creamy buttermint, and rich coffee. Cadbury candy there for every moment.
Introducing the Ogbonge new Cadbury Caramel, Cadbury Coffee, plus your Cadbury Buttermint Sweet, where you don't enjoy tay. Now, plenty don't day to share and jolly.
Cadbury candy there for every moment.
My name na Ekele, and na accessories I dey sell. Whether na earring o, belt, even cufflinks dem, e full my shop na. But people no go buy wetin dem no dey see na. Abi, to you, I just dey flood your timeline. To me, my phone na my shop, my Airtel data na my rent.
The important things in life are powered by data. Dial *141# to choose any data plan that works for you.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Shay, you wanna feel that boost? Allow me to introduce Amber Energy Drink. No more shutting down, we're going up. Oh yeah, get ready, stimulate your energy. Amber now for energy, go around tell somebody. Oh yeah, get ready, stimulate your energy. Amber now for energy, go around tell somebody. Say, what are you waiting for? Yeah, now you can do more because Amber Energy Drink there for you. Amber Energy Drink there for you. No need to go too far, you can find it where you are because Amber Energy Drink there for you. Amber Energy Drink there for you. Yeah, Amber there for you. Yeah, Amber there for you.
Amber Energy Drink. Stimulate the energy in you.
Union Bank is 105. To celebrate, we're giving away another 55 million naira in our Save and Win Pali promo 2. That's 105,000 naira for 50 people every month, 500,000 naira for 5 people every quarter, and 5 million naira for one lucky person at the end of the year. To stand a chance, simply save at least 10,000 naira into your Union Bank account every month. If you don't have an account, you can download the Union mobile app or visit the nearest branch to open one. Terms and conditions apply.
Union Bank, your simpler, smarter bank.
I let go where everything is possible. My way, nothing can hold me back. I let go, kulele. On my way to my next level with
máa tẹ̀síwájú jẹ́ kó rí ìrera pàdé ṣẹlẹ̀ làkàsẹ́rà má jẹ́ kí nǹkan kan dá ọ dúró.
Words are powerful, but even more powerful is when they are backed by action, which is why at Keystone Bank, we don't just say you are important. We show you how important you are to us by providing you with simple and innovative banking technology that hit home. From our online banking and mobile app to our *7111# platform to our super fast loan services and so much more. In Keystone, you'll find a refreshing approach that takes banking from being bearable to pleasurable. Experience customer dedication and refreshing innovation that go beyond words with Keystone. Keystone Bank. We grow together.
With
Wetin we mean when we say ground on level? Now say as you dey hustle, you dey flex join. You dey enjoy yourself with wetin you get for hand. Now why you fit cool body with the Wazo bottles, 7up, Mirinda and Pepsi 35cl for just 50 naira. No matter your choice, so fast in a 35cl glass bottle on our Wazo, because when we say ground on level, we mean am, because on our Wazo.
Enjoy chilled refreshments with the Wazo bottles, 7up, Mirinda, and Pepsi 35cl glass at 50 naira only. Ground on level with the Wazo bottles. All now Wazo.
Money get more for you. From Golden More. Good times will come again with Golden More. Good times will come. Nourishment for the family. Delicious Golden More. Enjoy 10% more this season.
Every 800-gram pack of Golden More you buy this season, they come with 10% extra free. That now more value and more nutrition for the same price. Offer valid while stock lasts. Nestle. Good food, good life.
Doctor, how you go come help me now? My pikin body dey hot and dey cry.
Relax your mind, Jare. Let me check your baby first. Your baby don dey get teeth small be that oh. You need Baobab syrup. It go start relieving your baby from itchy and watery eyes, runny nose inko, feverish condition. Baobab syrup. You fit get am for any genuine pharmacy wey dey near you. With Baobab syrup, mothers no dey get wahala again. If symptoms no stop after 48 hours, abeg consult your doctor. Baobab syrup na Biomedical Limited, they make up.
939 is the dial.
If it isn't headache, malaria, tuberculosis, hypertension, COVID-19, then it's something else. It is just a lot. One can't even keep up. How do I escape coming down with these health problems? I am not even a doctor.
Worry no more. The Remedy Dial has got you covered. Tune to Solutions Clinic every Monday from 10:15 a.m. with Vic Riches and get updated on health talks. Remember, a healthy life is your ticket to wealthy life.
According to the World Food Programme, globally, malnourished mothers give birth to as many as 17 million underweight infants per year. An undernourished girl will become an undernourished mother and give birth to an undernourished child. Break this cycle. Get nourished. Keep listening to Solutions Clinic on Solutions 93.9 FM. I am Ifeoluwa Bodunde, a registered dietitian nutritionist.
The World Health Organization says that 1 in 4 people are at risk of a mental health problem. With these statistics, it's important to take care of your mental health because your mental health is also as important as your physical health. You are not alone. Seek help. Your mental health matters. My name is Choma Fakuride. I'm a wellness consultant and founder of Olama Cares Foundation. Keep listening to Solutions Clinic on Solutions 939 FM.
What I'm about to say. Sunshine is here, you can take a break. A hot air balloon, you can go to space. Oh, with the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along
right, that's Happy, of course, by Pharrell Williams, right here on the Remedy Dial. Solutions 93.9, 25 minutes gone past 10. And this is Solutions Clinic, where we get to talk about everything and anything health. My name is Victory Richard. Good morning, Ibadan, and welcome to the 28th day in the month of November 2022. It's almost time to say Happy New Year, and I'm looking forward to that. But it's by prayer that we all say that in good health. All right, welcome to Solutions Clinic once again, and I did mention earlier that we're going to be talking about reducing the burden of malaria. In 2020, there were about 241 million cases of malaria worldwide, and approximately 627,000 malarial deaths recorded in 2020. In 2020, most of which was in the WHO African regions, which shouldered 95% of global malaria burden. Children under 5 accounted for about 80% of all malaria deaths in WHO African regions. Since October 2021, WHO also recommends broad use of RTSS malaria vaccines for children living in moderate to high malaria transmission regions. The vaccine is said to be significantly okay and has reduced malaria and deadly severe malaria amongst children. Malaria is a life-threatening disease caused by parasite transmitted to people through the bite of mosquitoes. However, it is preventable and curable. My guest this morning is Dr. Olumide Obatoyi. Good morning to you, doctor.
Good morning. It's good to be back.
Yes, always a pleasure having you. So let's talk about malaria, which I said earlier is, trivialized by a lot of, particularly in this part of the world. Not a lot of people take malaria seriously. I think everybody, literally everyone, knows a drug to take when it comes to malaria, which is not safe. What would you speak about? What's your thought in this pattern of life or behavioral pattern, particularly from Nigerians? Let's even center, on our home base.
All right, I think to start with, it's not necessarily a problem that everyone knows what to do or what to take when they have malaria. As a matter of fact, I would consider it a sort of victory of health education, that people can recognize the symptoms themselves and then go ahead to self-medicate. There are situations where you typically don't want people to self-medicate, but if you look at the way malaria operates and the burden of malaria on the Nigerian system, you want to look the other way as regards self-medication. You want that to a large extent people can at least get some first aid for themselves. So to an extent, it's an advantage. The problem is how people stretch it to some point and then do some other things, add some other things. That's where the problem comes. But if we can stick with the basics, and to a large extent, people do the basics.
Well, don't you think that the demerit, outweighs the merit of, that knowledge? Because more often than not, we have people abusing these drugs, and malaria symptoms also falls with other kinds of diseases. So you don't even know what is wrong with you, but it's very customary with Nigerians to just assume that the slightest headache is traceable to malaria.
Well, let me put it this way. We have a healthcare sector that is under pressure. It always has been, but it's worse in the past 2-3 years. It's gotten remarkably worse. And you have quite a number of diseases. And we are talking about a healthcare sector that is under pressure. We are not just talking about the staff. We are talking about the structures. We are talking about the equipment. You want, to a large extent, that patients that come into the hospital are patients that absolutely have to be attended to. You want some more difficult and more challenging cases to be attended to. If we have everybody coming to the hospital for malaria is such that it is endemic in this country. You are entitled to at least once, twice, or 3 times a year That's a normal life for you as a Nigerian. So if people keep coming to the hospital for malaria all the time, you have a hospital that is choked up with so many patients, and then you may have to start doing triads and separating patients from, okay, this is serious. If people can take drugs, we do things called first aid teaching to different people. You don't want somebody who is bleeding, for instance, from an accident on a highway to just keep coming to the hospital without doing something first, some basic stuff first. So for someone with malaria, it's not a bad idea for them to have at least taken.
But you must know that you have malaria. Yes. I think that's the point I'm trying to drive.
That's it. We like that people do tests, and then of course, which is that comes to hospital. And
yeah.
You know what? You know the interesting thing? Malaria tests can actually be done even at home. I mean, people do blood sugar test at home.
Yes.
So malaria test is not essentially too difficult to learn. In fact,
there's a kit for it now.
There's a kit for it. There's a manual for it. You can you check your symptoms. You do the malaria test. You can take drugs. You know, I liked the numbers you discussed, and I think at some point we'll get to it. One of the reasons we have such bad numbers is because we don't seem to look at Nigeria holistically. Most people look at Nigeria, and for instance, if you are going to look at Oyo State, most people believe that once you look at what is happening in Ibadan, it's a representation of Oyo State, and that's quite very bad.
Right, because we have over 33 local government areas.
The entire Ibadan is about 10 or 11 local governments, so you have about 20-something local governments. I once worked in Okeogun, and there was a culture shock. They are very different. The thinking, the way things work there is very different. So if you have, and conservative estimates shows that Nigeria has over 99 million or thereabouts in the rural areas. If we use a conservative estimate of 200 million people, that's 40-something percent, almost 50% of people in the rural areas. So if that is the case, we would always keep having these numbers, because it will always skew the numbers to the bad.
Right.
So the first thing is, in the in the urban areas, we don't have enough healthcare facilities to take care of them. Now imagine the rural areas. That's if we can get them educated, at least on the basic diseases. There are some diseases that people should be educated about, things that they can do. We can't. There's no healthcare system that is perfect, by the way.
Absolutely.
I mean, even the Americans have this shortage of doctors and so they have physician associates.
I mean, that's why they're taking ours.
And even that is not enough. Not enough. They have physician assistants, people where they expedite a form of training, a form of skeletal training for them to just be able to diagnose diseases and treat diseases. We also have to do things like that. We have to apply some local solutions to our problems.
Now that we're speaking of solutions, and we've also talked about the interventions, I mean, there are several approaches or interventions that has been said to be used, to combat malaria. But we discovered that not a lot of Nigerians are willing to subscribe to it. For instance, sleeping under an how's it called again? Treated net, or using the fleet and whatnot. You don't see that as a culture for a lot of families, because, I mean, you're considering, for the net, for instance, you're considering heat, not to do so. So, I mean, how can we... Education is not enough anymore. So what can be done? Because I think I went to Igbarakpa one time, and I saw nets. They used nets for farming.
Yes.
It was ridiculous.
I think one of the things is, maybe this is an advantage of the Nigerian situation, is that as much as malaria could be very deadly, and it is deadly, it can be. Most of us have never really seen the deadly part of malaria before, and most of us are likely to go through life without seeing a case of it before, a case of severe malaria that leads to death. If you are not a hospital worker, you are not likely to see that kind of thing.
Right.
We see them a lot, especially with under 5. It's very common with them. We see them. But for people who have not seen something, Nigerians are such that prevention is not their thing. You need to incentivize them with some very gory stories or images
to be scared before.
I realize that sometimes you need to put the fear of God into them for them to do some things. Okay, so an average Nigerian thinks, well, this is it. This is malaria. Well, I can always treat malaria. It just goes out of the mosquito net and sleeps in its own way. So that is the psyche of. I don't really know how you can tweak the psyche of the Nigerian citizen.
So I mean, I believe if you're listening, you heard the numbers that I mentioned. Of people who die out of as a result of malaria. So it's not something to joke with, because I know in this part of the world it's something that we really commonize, and this interventions have been provided for our utilization. So I think it's just fair. Like I said, education might not do much of the work. You have to decide for yourself to want to sleep under this net, I believe. Let's talk about what happened in October 2021. The WHO said that the RTTS, yes, is good, safe, and can be rolled out. And countries like Kenya, Malawi, Ghana, they've rolled out theirs and they're using it. Is that happening in Nigeria?
Well, mainstream-wise, it hasn't started happening. Mainstream-wise, it takes some time for. I think COVID vaccine made it look like vaccines are so easily made and and then are so easily applied. But then there are stages, before vaccines get adopted. That a vaccine is good in Kenya has nothing to do with it being good in Nigeria. We have to put it through our own testing systems and adopt it as ours. There are some vaccines that they use in the Western nations that we don't. There are some that we don't use and they do, things like that. So I believe that at some point, I fully believe within the next few years, we should get that.
The vaccines rolling out.
Maybe it might be a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, if people can subscribe to using net and flits, perhaps they might. If the vaccine has a higher potency.
That's one. Two, with vaccines, you are ensured of a certain level of compliance. If there's something that permeates both the urban regions and the rural regions, it is vaccination everywhere. It is done everywhere, and that is impressive to me. Like I told you, I was in Okeogun. I was very, very impressed with their vaccination scheme. It was thorough. It was relentless. And they really got to those people. Yeah, there are a few stubborn people who might, but they really did get there. They got the job.
Right.
That's why I said local solutions for local problems. So maybe that will be the game changer, or maybe at some point the state might be a little more active, especially for the vulnerable groups. For pregnant women, they're vulnerable. For pregnant women, during their antenatal care, there's an intermittent prevention of malaria that they get. That is one of it. So for under 5, we treat malaria a lot more seriously than the regular person. We treat malaria a lot more seriously because complications.
Why is that for their case? Is it because of low immunity?
Exactly. Yeah, they're under 5. Immunity is developing. Anything that happens to them in any part of their body can become systemic very quickly. So you typically don't want them going too far into diseases. You want to arrest it as quickly as possible. As small as, I won't say small anyway, but as insignificant as some might think a high temperature is, for a child under 5, a high temperature is a nightmare for. You don't want it to get higher than that. That's why we teach a lot of things. And maybe I would even mention that somebody might learn something today. For children under 5, before you bring to the hospital, we always tell people that you mop their body with lukewarm water, a form of warm water. One of the mistakes people make is to mop their body with cold water or to bath them. That it makes matters worse. If you use cold water, they get hotter. Right, so you use warm or lukewarm water. You start with that. We even encourage them to start with paracetamol also. After that, after mopping their body, you give paracetamol before you come. One thing is that fever must start being crushed as early as it is noticed, as soon as it is noticed. So things like that can be incorporated to vulnerable cases. You see someone who is vulnerable, there can be protocols. We have protocols. We must learn to enforce them. Once we can enforce protocols, we can bring down those deaths to a certain degree.
Level, minimal level.
I'm impressed when people who don't speak English, patients who don't speak English, speak Yoruba to me and tell me how they took care of temperature. It's impressive. It shows that somebody has communicated, and that's why I think we need more health extension workers, more community health workers. Those people are doing a marvelous job. They're doing a marvelous job. If without them, we would have numbers that would terrify you to read.
God help us. Let's talk about what you mentioned earlier. I also do understand that malaria, I don't know if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected, is inherent. I mean, you were talking earlier and you said that you have people come, to the hospital 3-4 times in a year as a result, of malaria. So my question is, and according to what I read, it was said that, the malaria would blow up when you just stress out a little, if it's inherent in you. I don't know how true that is. But my question to all this is, with all these interventions that we have, how is it now being controlled? If we have malaria inside a person, for instance, and you still, have these interventions, you practice some of it, is it not just possible not to come down with malaria at all?
Well, if you are going to do that, you are going to have to start by eradicating the mosquitoes. You have to start with the mosquitoes. Everything begins with them. All right, we were not born with malaria parasites now, but they got introduced one way or the other. So you need to start with the parasites, the vector first, which is a mosquito, which then transmits the parasite, the Plasmodium falciparum. All right, it's that falciparum that stays in the body and sometimes can stay there dormant, not really doing anything. Sometimes, because of some other circumstances, can just flare up, and then you have malaria, you have the temperature and all that. But in that case, the idea would be to first of all go to the source and fight the source as much as possible. But we're in a tropical environment that really helps these vectors to grow. It encourages their growth. And so it is really not, you can't completely eradicate them. The best you can do, you can use insecticides, you can use mosquito nets and all of that, but we may not be able to completely eradicate them. Our environment supports them. Our climate supports them. All right, so that is on that. And when you eventually come down with it, which is inevitable in some cases, when you do come down with it, one of the problems I've noticed is people don't realize that sometimes you can complete if you do complete, that is, you can complete your course of malaria treatment, and you might not get better.
Oh, is that so?
It might,
I mean, that's never happened to me. Anytime I take the full tablet, no, even before finishing the tablet, I feel better. No, I have no, because I heard about the building resistance for the drug. So ever since I got that information, I started completing the drug. We'll talk about that, but continue with your thought.
And I realize sometimes you might need to take it once, take it twice. Sometimes you might need to get to the hospital and then they will test you for something, or just change from tablets to. But I realize that people are very quick to diagnose themselves with another disease entirely, typhoid. I've had that so many times. So much it almost drives me crazy. I mean, people are so convinced. They are absolutely so convinced. They have, and unlike malaria, it is not as common as people think. It is not as common. In fact, you might go an entire life without having typhoid. Many people have never had it before,
Hmm.
but they've treated it because they were certain they had it. So,
Yeah.
Sometimes malaria can be like that. It can be that bad, and sometimes within the first 2 doses, you are good to go.
Yeah.
However, you should complete it. Complete your dose. That one is certain. We should do that. So once you know all those tricks with malaria drugs, and I like Nigerians in the sense that they know which one works for them. They know which one works for them, which brand works for them. There are some that are of the same names but different brands. Some people will tell you specifically the brand they react to, and I think that's good. That's really, really good. So do it and get better. Don't complicate it. Don't complicate matters at all.
Okay. Talk to us about, building resistance for people who, once they take 2 or 3 tablets of their malaria drug, they feel better and they drop it. What's the implication of that? When you keep getting malaria and you don't complete your drugs, what happens to you?
Well, you see, the manufacturers of these drugs, drugs are chemicals. There's a certain measurement with drugs. There's a certain measurement that has been decided will be effective against the parasites on the long run. There's a certain, they will say you start one now, you take one 8 hours after. They are trying to achieve something.
Yes.
With that 8 hours, then you do one in the morning, one at night, things like that. The idea is, if you move out of line, if you stay out of line of that structure, that scheme, the problem is you won't be achieving that maximum impact that they want you to achieve. And when the parasite is an organism. When it gets used to it, when it does not get eradicated, when it does not get killed by that measurement, eventually it gets stronger, it gets used to that drug. When you use it the next time, and in some cases, it's not common anyway. It happens with antibiotics too. In some cases, the organism might get used to that drug in different people around you, such that because of what you have done, that drug becomes ineffective
to the rest.
to the rest
My
of the
goodness.
people. That's why we always ask.
Like TB kind of
that kind of
situation.
thing. So it might become ineffective to 4 or 5 people. They might not be able to.
That's
and then
terrible.
we might have to start looking for alternative.
It's terrible. All right. Before we wrap our thoughts this morning, just a gentle reminder of how this disease can also be deadly. The WHO says if one is infected with the Plasmodium falciparum malaria, it can be dangerous, escalate, and cause death in 24 hours. And I'm wondering if this happens in Nigeria because, like I mentioned earlier, there's a trivial approach to malaria, and the WHO is saying if one is infected with this parasite, there's a tendency of dying in 24 hours.
Absolutely, yes. If one has especially in the vulnerable cases, especially with children, there's vulnerable, then children, especially under 5, infants too. There's malaria that is called severe malaria. There is a part of malaria that is called severe malaria. If malaria becomes severe, it begins to attack organs, and the brain is one of those first organs that malaria can affect. A lot of people don't know that malaria does affect the liver. Malaria can affect the spleen. Malaria can affect the kidneys. The kidneys can shut down and the person begins to pee blood and stuff like that, if malaria becomes severe. Malaria can cause problems with the lungs. You can have serious problems. So in any part of the body, you can have just fluctuating acid-base balance just because of malaria. In that case, malaria has become severe, and death is not an unusual outcome.
Occurrence, yeah.
It's not an unusual outcome, especially if it is not quickly arrested. If it is not quickly arrested, just about anything can happen.
So is there a way we can, like you said, is a possibility of one even having the parasite within and not even knowing? So is there like a timeline to which one should follow? It may be checking for malaria or treating malaria. how often should one do that?
For those that are vulnerable, I see parents doing something I kind of like. Yeah, I think it's at least it's to an extent it shows their surveillance and all that. When children come back from school, or children are going to resume from school, or they return from a trip, you see them testing their children and all that. I think that is really good. I like that. I like that. It shows that they are paying attention. But there is no well-defined pattern as to how you should check.
Go about it.
You should go about it. There's no straitjacket approach. Some people might never do a simple malaria test for months and all that, and they may be fine. That's all right. But if you have a vulnerable person, if you have a pregnant wife, you have children, very young children, or you have an old patient, an older person, you see, extremes of ages behave similarly. Immunity is low on both sides.
Yes, for younger and older.
Older people. And I think it's worse with the older people because they might not even have symptoms that make any sense. They might not have symptoms. Everything, you just have everything. You can find everything. So nothing is tying to anything. Everything you test is positive and things like that. So it might just be as simple as malaria. So in that case, if you have people like that, you have a high index of suspicion and you have a low threshold of going to the hospital. You have a low threshold. They develop something, just take them to the hospital.
Okay. So how is it for one to get the rapid diagnostic test, and are they available and are they free? Or are they expensive? Because the problem is, when you say you can get a kit for your testing, the second question is how expensive.
Unfortunately, I don't know the price.
But it's available.
It is.
Okay.
It is. In any of those bigger pharmacies, you can get them. You can learn how to use them. If you are that interested in you can learn how to use them.
So finally, to conclude our thoughts, let's just talk about, or more like a reminder, the preventive measures for reducing the burden of malaria, both for people at the endemic areas and urban areas. Just generally what we should do.
Well, you start from the basics. The first thing is your environment. You need to take care of your environment. Ensure that as simple as it is, stagnant water is not very close to you. When you have stagnant water, it's an invitation. It's as though you're organizing a party and trying to get malaria out of it. So that you start with that. Then insecticide, mosquito net, like you said, are not for the farms. They are best for as uncomfortable as they can be, and to a large extent, I get what people are talking about, especially in it.
And I think it's because most times it's not treated. I think they say when you usually get the nets, you should probably, I don't know how true that is, put it in the sun for about some time.
If you don't, I learned the hard way. I once,
you got reaction to that,
oh,
even as a doctor.
No. I was a very young boy then.
Okay. Okay.
I always remind people, whether it is treated or not treated, put it in the sun.
Right.
So the idea is sleep under the nets. And, insecticides are not that expensive, I guess, for what the cost-benefit ratio, it just makes sense.
There are different, brands.
And all that, you take them, use them. When you do use them, at least to a large extent, you are covered. And then when you come down with malaria, get yourself treated. If you don't know how to get yourself treated, go to a hospital and speak to a health worker. It's one of those easy things they can just put you through. And if you have a vulnerable population or a vulnerable person under your care, ensure that the hospital is not very far from you. It makes perfect sense for every Nigerian to have a hospital that they are registered to. Perfect sense. And I'm happy there's insurance, there's a national insurance, and there's OSHA, I think. Yeah, there's Oyo State. It just makes perfect sense. Just ensure that you are tied to a hospital. And if you're in the rural area, one of them may be hearing us. I've gone through Oyo State in some places in Oyo State, and I've realized they've upgraded many of the primary health care centers, and they've equipped them. I've worked in a few of them. They've equipped them. People need to take advantage of these things. The drugs are there for free.
Right. Well, I think what is enough for the wise, and we've said quite a lot this morning. I believe you've also listened, and I know that you put it into practice for your daily life, because our ultimate motto here is, a healthy life is your ticket to a wealthy life. It would be very sad with all the education that, someone around you or yourself, you fall ill and probably, God forbid, die as a result of malaria. We hope that's not the case. So we want you to take, and pay attention to some of these details that we've shared this morning. I must say thank you to you, Dr. Olumide Obatuyi, for always being here and educating us, on this very interesting conversation on different topics on health. Okay, it's a wrap on Solutions Clinic this morning. And of course, the AM update. Abbas Ishala is already here to take us on the world of sports for Yoruba. Which club are you supporting? I say club. I'm talking about FIFA.
I was going to ask you if you were enjoying the World Cup. I'm currently not happy. My
with the several upsets that's been happening.
No, I support Germany, and I'm very unimpressed. They went to the World Cup without a recognized a top striker. We don't do that. I'm not German, but we don't do that. I know it's Polish, and I mean we've always had Miroslav Klose playing. I started supporting Germany since 2002. This is probably the worst I've seen them play. They play like I'm not talk on radio.
Sorry, Doc.
Who is gonna win the World Cup?
What are you rooting for?
Which? Well, I know this is not going to be Germany, so. But I'm rooting I'm rooting for another European team. I think if the South Americans win, either Brazil or Argentina, I think there's going to be a lot of noise.
I mean, Brazil, it's always been.
I know. I don't want them to win because it will be too noisy,
right?
Especially on Twitter.
Oh my goodness! All right, Abbas will be taking your the world of sports from 11. My name is Victor Richard. Have yourself a most productive Monday.